Welcome to Inside the Newsroom. I'm Gyllenhaal, the Herald's executive editor, and today I want to take you behind the scenes in the paper's Silver Knights Award program. This is the week when our panels of judges do the interviews that decide who wins, which is one of the most fulfilling and hardest assignments that you can imagine. It's a hard assignment because all the contenders have accomplished a great deal in a few short years, and it's fulfilling because it broadens your faith in young people in many ways. Jeff Kleinman, the Herald's night editor, will never forget the student who arrived for her interview not long ago, sat down, and began digging through her purse. And then she pulled out a book that she had recently published, and she put it on the table. Dave Wilson, a senior editor at the paper, said every round of interviews has moments that catch you by surprise. He said, you'll be talking through things, and a nominee in music will pull out their violin and start to play. The interviews mark the midpoint in a year-round road to the next class of Silver Knights. The application process starts in October. Then the schools choose nominees for each of the 15 categories that range from drama to journalism to science. Those selected fill out detailed questionnaires that often grow to 20 or 30 pages of explanations, awards, and references with all that they've done. Said El Nuevo Herald editor Manny Garcia, there was one South Miami High student we interviewed in the vocation category. She was a soccer player, after-school teacher, who also worked as a mechanic after her father, a diabetic, was incapacitated for a while. She did all this while maintaining solid grades and counseling at-risk kids to stay in school. I was blown away, he said. Those Silver Knight winners go on to lead major universities and corporations. They often arrive for these conversations as nervous young kids facing the first interviews of their lives. That's why this past week's exchanges with 3 judge panels made up of Herald folks, experts in the categories, and volunteers are so important. Quote, there are some kids who've been headed for this their whole lives, said Rick Hirsch, who runs the paper's multimedia operations. And then there are others you don't really get until you've sat down and they tell you their stories. Those stories are really impressive. Over the years, Silver Knights have become rocket scientists, politicians, famous musicians. Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, was a winner in 1982. Steve Runneman, one-time chairman of Pepsi, won in 1966. Middle East Ambassador Francis Cook won in 1963. Once the winners are selected over the next 2 weeks, we begin the work of putting together the formal ceremonies that will be held at the John S. and James L. Knight Center on May 13th. That evening has its pressures, but it's a night full of joy, applause, and triumph, and a lot of fun. Quote, I will never forget the guy who did the flip, said Rick. When he won, he was so excited that he came up on stage and he literally flipped in the air in his suit and everything. Now that was something. The same can be said for almost every step along the way. If you'd like to know more about the awards program, past winners, and its 52-year history, turn to www.miamiherald.com/Silver Knights. And thanks for your thoughts, your calls, your emails, your letters, and for spending time with the Miami Herald and Miami.com.